Hello, everybody. Welcome to Your Legacy podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Mr. Irvon Plummer. Mr. Irvon Plummer is the founder and president of the Entrepreneur Education and Development Center here in South Florida, and I am honored to have him as my guest here today.
First guest.
The very first guest for the Your Legacy podcast. Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And so for our listeners right now, can you go ahead and start off by just talking a little bit more about that? What exactly is the Entrepreneur Education and Development Center? What is it, and what are some of its goals?
So the Entrepreneur Education and Development Center is simply a nonprofit 501c3 organization that's point in the community is to impact the next generation, and that's through transformative impact and entrepreneurship. We do different events throughout the year. We hold different initiatives that impact the younger children, from ages like 5 all the way up to 18. So one of our goals is to make sure that financial stability is one of the pillars in the underprivileged communities, whether it be Hallendale Beach, Hollywood, West Park. Those communities are very, underprivileged, and that's our goal, to make sure that we create opportunities for them to learn about money, learn about entrepreneurship, so that they can learn to, get these things that they want for themselves, whether it be money, real estate, finances, all of the above. That is our goal, to make sure that they know how to make money on their own. Yeah.
And you said from the ages of 5 to 18. So that you can start this early.
Yeah, so programs vary. So, for example, one of our flagship programs is Shop with the Boss, where we take underprivileged children on a shopping spree, and we've been doing this for 8 years. We've been partnered with a couple of different department stores down here. One of the main ones has been Target. And what it is we get entrepreneurs like yourself, like myself, business owners, CEOs. They donate $100 that goes directly to the hands of the children. For the first 7 years, we allow them to partner with us and walk the children throughout the stores, and they become basically bosses for the day. And that's just something that we love to have them do, because as they're walking around with their boss for the day, they learn about the financial literacy on how much to spend on this. If you're going to get, for example, this toy, and now you only have $9 left, you can't get the toy that's $11. So instead, you just get Starbucks. That's at the store. Exactly. So in addition to those things, we do have a conference also that we do called Beyond Con, Young Entrepreneur Conference, where our goal is to help the children and the team to attend, to think, build, and live beyond. And that has been powered for the last 2 years by the Children's Service Council, Florida Power and Light. And this year, we added on another sponsor, Plan B Team, which is an organization that creates transformative impact for underprivileged youth throughout South Florida. So yeah, those are just two of our programs right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds like you're making like a great impact. What's been the most rewarding part of like this experience so far for you with what you've been able to build there?
The most rewarding part, I would say, is the smiles on the kids' face once they learn something or once they accomplish something, because you can't force a smile on the kid's face. You can't force them to be happy or to enjoy what you are giving to them. It has to come natural. So when you see that smile on the face, it's like a sign of approval, like, yeah, I did that, and it's always great to partner with other organizations so that they can see those smiles as well.
So that all sounds great. And I mean, it sounds like you had a vision that you were able to develop. Let's hear a little bit about you, the man behind the center. Tell us a little bit about your childhood, your upbringing, a little bit of your backstory, and what it is that inspired you to create something like this.
Well, I'm from here, Hallendale Beach. I am the youngest of 11 children. When I say 11, I was raised by my biological aunt, who I call my mom, because at the time my biological mom, who I call Bae, she couldn't, take care of me at the time. But my mom has since passed. But Bae is still alive. She's doing great, and we have an amazing relationship. Growing up, I wouldn't say it was hard. I never knew that I wouldn't say living in poverty. We weren't living in poverty, but I never knew that we were living, just right on the surface of it. My mom, she never made us feel like we didn't have enough. She always provided for us. So I can't say that I had a bad childhood. I had a really great childhood to think about it. So being the youngest, I didn't get everything I wanted. You know how you say, oh, the youngest typically gets what they want. No, we all got, and if we all got a lollipop, then we all got a lollipop, So those are things. But growing up, we moved out of Hallendale when I was about in third or fourth grade, and we moved over to like the West Park area, and I grew up over there. Went to all elementary, middle schools locally. I honestly never really had a passion for entrepreneurship until I started a business randomly, and it was out of a broken friendship, honestly. So after I stopped being best friends with my former best friend, I said, I need to start a company. So I started a company out of the mindset of pain and hurt and just wanting to have something to hold on to. And that did good, but I ended up shutting it down because it wasn't something that I, had a real passion for. It was built out of something that I didn't deem correct. Like, it was built out of pain, and I didn't like that. So once I transformed over from there, I started my last 501c, not 501c, but LLC, Plummer Enterprises, which was a event production company where we produce events, we produce a whole slew of different things, award shows and everything, but there still wasn't any fulfillment. And we actually started Shop with the Boss with That company. So I created the Entrepreneur Education and Development Center as just a nonprofit backing. So it kind of just started as just, okay, let me just get this so that I could be able to write stuff off correctly and that I could get more sponsorship. And what I walked into was my calling, honestly. Working in the nonprofit sector has been so rewarding because you see so many different faces. You see so many different people that really just want to impact the next generation. And growing up the way I did, it helped me realize that everything was connected. So yeah, I'm here. I love the city of Hallendale. Like, one day when I moved back to the city, because I live right literally on the borderline of Hallendale, Hollywood, one day in the future, I keep planning on running for mayor.
Oh, wow.
So, and people already say, oh yeah, there goes the mayor, and they tell me that, but I'm not the mayor. I'm actually really good friends with Mayor Jo Cooper, and she is great. She is doing a great job, so I'm not going to take her job at all. But I see myself probably, eventually running for office here because I do want to represent, especially our Black and brown community here in South Florida and Hallendale, to just give them better opportunities and things of that sort.
Right. And so going back to what you said a minute ago, this, you kind of stumbled upon like the creation of this center. It wasn't something that you had initially ever thought you'd be doing. And so it's funny how life turns out that way. How, you don't really plan for these things, but you find that you kind of just stumble upon something that allows you to make an impact that you just never thought you'd be making.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's what happened. And I feel like it was all God's intentions, because one day I was in church and I was at like a worship service or something, and I'm a firm believer in giving, tithes, offerings, things of that sort. So I heard the voice of the Lord say, give $100. $100 was all I had in my pocket. So I said, are you sure? So I heard it again, and I said, okay, if they do an offering and they call out $100, I'm going to get it. Lo and behold, they did. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to get it. So I ended up giving it. I knew I wasn't going to have gas to go to work the next day. I knew I wasn't going to have money to get anything to eat. So I had to pick up one of my assistants to head to the office and go to work. Without me knowing that, she gave me $20 for gas. So immediately I knew, I was like, okay, this is the time for God that I did that. And then fast forward, that opened up a door for a national gospel artist to call, his aunt rather, to call me, and we started working together briefly. But it just opened up a door to a whole bunch of different things. And from that one lesson, I learned that, you just got to listen to the voice of the Lord that's in your mind and in your heart. Like, if it says go, go. If it says stop, stop. So, yeah, I've had a lot of goals and a whole lot of stops that I had to listen to. Some I skipped over, but that's all a part of the process of getting to where I am now.
Right. And so you had that sense of trust, that things like if you trust what the Lord is telling you to do in these situations, things will work out. And that sense of trust has helped you.
Yes, it has. It truly has helped me because in this industry, there's not a lot of people you can trust. I have been scammed and boo-booed, all of it, just like any other entrepreneur. But through it all, trusting in God and leaning into His voice and just knowing, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. That's all the push that I need to keep going.
Yeah. And so I'm interested to ask you, because you have this center, the Entrepreneur Education and Development Center. What if there is, I'm sure that you probably do this as part of your role there. You advise, you give those kids advice. You have a young entrepreneur, boy or girl, who's coming up, who has dreams of being an entrepreneur. They could range like a certain type of age they might be. What's the advice that you would give to a young entrepreneur starting off?
The advice that I would honestly give is to honestly just trust the people that you trust, because a lot of times you can trust someone. You can trust them with, you can trust a barber to cut your hair, but you can't trust them to, get your nails or whatever. But if you truly trust someone, truly trust them, share your vision with them, share your passion with them. Another one I would say is don't think that you're a know-it-all. Because while thinking that you're a know-it-all, the mistakes that you didn't have to make, you will eventually make. So just lean in to being the best you possible, trusting the right people, getting a mentor even, and knowing that you're not right all the time. And I think that's a thing that a lot of young entrepreneurs, they think that they're right at everything. I've been there, done that. I'm pretty sure you've been there, done that, especially when you know that what you're doing, you know about it, you got it, you got your degrees and everything. But sometimes you got to learn from someone who's done it longer than you. And then you also have to be willing to learn from someone who just started, who may be better than you. And that's a lot of time, as seasoned entrepreneurs, a lot of them don't want to learn from the younger ones, but the younger ones are the ones who know how to use TikTok. The younger ones are the ones who know how to use Instagram and even Facebook. Facebook is technically now, they say it's for older people, but it's not. It's still a tool that you can use to be successful and impact so many different people. So yeah.
Yeah. And so back to that lesson, you need to be willing to say, hey, I don't know everything. Being an entrepreneur is going to be a challenging thing. Starting a business and being successful with it is going to be a challenging thing. And when you actually open up your mind to say, what does this person know that I don't? Then the doors open up in a way where you can learn more that you can use to be successful at the endeavor you're embarking.
Definitely. And it helps you build capacity, because you can only hold so much in your hands. And that's what I'm learning. I can only hold so much. Like, for example, this year, instead of me running the Shop with the Boss program, because we're expanding to Miami and Orlando, I now have 3 directors that's running each of them. So now I don't have to be hands-on. I could just say, hey, this is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. Let's get it done. And all 3 of them have been donors from the beginning, day one. So they know how Shop with the Boss works. So it was easy for me to trust, just like we just said, trust. It was easy for me to trust them with my baby, because at the end of the day, one day Irvon is going to be gone, if we be honest. So if I want my legacy to live on through things that I've been able to start, I have to be able to trust people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that being said, when we talk about leaving, like you said, you're not going to be here forever, and you think about your legacy. All of us are inspired. The part of the reason we want to leave legacies is to inspire the next generation that comes after us. So with that being said, who are some of the people who left a legacy in your life? Who are some people who inspire you, who it could be a family member, it could be a historical figure, a cultural figure of some sort. Who are some of the people who have inspired you the most in your life?
My number one will always be my mom. She has inspired me to just reach for all of my goals and just do it. because there's so many things that she wasn't able to do because she took care of us. That's something that really drives me to want to get things done. And I wish she was here to see all the amazing things and be a part of it. But yeah, my mom is my number one. And then I want to honestly say my siblings. All of my siblings, they truly support everything I do. I do have a twin brother, and he's actually the vice president, one of the vice presidents of the organization. So he's a huge help to everything that we do. He's actually running one of our other programs this summer. We go to different schools and we do some physical activities, the things that are related back to entrepreneurism, and he's running that. So my siblings are next in line. And then I would say, honestly, two of my closest friends, Brittany and Shayla, those are like my best friends. They're both entrepreneurs in their own right, and both of them really inspire me to take it to the next level because I see them doing so many different things. My friend Shayla, she just got back from a tour. She's been on tour probably the last few months. She is a local pedagogy coach and all the other amazing things. And my friend Brittany, she has a nonprofit where she honestly teaches young underprivileged girls how to do hair. It's called the Hairpreneur Academy, and she has two other businesses. And I'm really inspired of the work and the time and the effort that they put into their business. So they really inspire me. And of course, my nephews, of course, two of my other mentors. One is my goddad, Mr. Lefty. He was actually one of the only real chorus teachers at Hallendale High School. And he's taught me so much. He taught me how to lead from behind. You don't have to always be in front to lead. You can always lead from behind. And then, of course, Coach Carter, who I've known her, since middle school. And she's actually on my board as well for the nonprofit. And then, honestly, I would say over the last 20 years working in education, every single student that I've had the pleasure of working with, even in this room today, I have one of my former students here with me. He's an entrepreneur in his own right, photographer, videographer. He's amazing at what he does. We can plug him later, but he's awesome. He's determined to just do it. And every single student, they really inspire me to keep going. There have been times, and even he knows it, where I wanted to quit. Like I was done. I wanted to be done with everything. But with their kind words and their encouragement and their laughs and their jokes, that has really pushed me to say, I can't stop here. I got to keep going. So, yeah. And then, of course, my whole family. Yeah.
What you talked about before with trust. Because with all the people that you say are your biggest inspirations, the people who have inspired you, it goes back to like family, like siblings, best friends, close friends. Those are people who you can establish that trust in on the journey.
Definitely. Journey. Yes, definitely. I can honestly say that they have carried me through it. There has been times, like when I first started, I had one event, I was totally upside down. Thousands of dollars. I called my sister and I said, "Hey sis, can I borrow this?" And she huffed and puffed, but she sent it right to me. And I was able to, pay that event. That was almost 10, 15 years ago. But it's that trust to say, hey, I trust that you'll give me this back. I trust that the money that you're asking for is going to go towards what you're saying is going to go towards. So those little things really just keep me going.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to like going back to that, leaving that legacy, those are people who leave their own type of legacy and inspiration in your life, like your mother, siblings, friends. Now, when it comes to your own legacy, how do you most want to be remembered by the next generation?
I want to be remembered as the guy who didn't always get it right. I want to be remembered as the fun-loving, big guy on campus who just generally love to see the next generation, current generation, past generation prosper. I want to be remembered as the guy who likes to sleep in sometimes. And I want to be remembered as the guy who gave it their all, even until the last moment, And of course, I don't see that happening from years from now. But definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my legacy.
Yeah. And so that first one you mentioned, you want to be remembered as the guy who didn't always want to get it right. Because in our current culture, like a lot of people just always want to be perceived in like they got it all right. You know, people like with social media, people like to put up the best image of themselves, like the perfect image. And you're saying that you want to be able to leave a legacy that people can remember and say, he didn't always get it right. Sometimes he maybe failed, made a mistake, and things like that. Why is that so important to you?
That's important to me because I want people to know that I'm not perfect. I want people to know that my legacy will not be perfect. Everybody has done something that may have diminished their legacy. So I don't want them to live off a false reality that I was this guy that was perfect. No, there's only one perfect person, and that's Jesus Christ. So other than that, like, no, remember me as who I am. Remember me as Irvon Plummer.
Yeah.
The guy that never got it right all the time. And that's okay. People have to be okay with not getting it right. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to, at the end of the day is going to end. You know? And there's always going to be tomorrow. And you can always start back over. And there's always going to be another day. Every time you mess up, just keep it in mind, there's going to be another day.
In your experience, do you think that's something that entrepreneurs have a problem with, where if they do make a mistake, especially early on, they kind of have a tendency to maybe want to give up?
Yeah, definitely. It is a self-destructive mentality because you're never going to get it right. Even the things that you deem is right, there's at least going to be one person on planet Earth out of the billions of people. What are we at? Like almost 9 billion people on Earth now? After all these billions of people, one person that can say, I didn't like that. So it is what it is. So you gotta ignore the noise. Mm-hmm. There's so much noise that's going on in the world today. If you just focus on what you're called to do and what your purpose and your passion is, then all of that extra noise will turn into songs of birds and all those other beautiful things. Just ignore that. Yeah. You're right.
You're right. And so in line with like what your legacy is in terms of the message, because a lot of the times people, part of their legacy is the values, the beliefs, the messages that they pass down to the next generation. If you could pass down one message to the next generation, what would that message be?
If I could pass down one message to the next generation, wow, it's a loaded question. Take some time to enjoy the view. That has been my mantra and my theme for the year. Of course, it comes from the show The View, but I have really embodied that this year because of some personal situations. I'm taking some time to really enjoy the view. The view can be you playing video games with your nephews. The view can be you going to the pool with no worries. The view could you be eating an entire extra large meat lover's pizza. It's all up to you. Take some time to enjoy the view. Travel, engage, laugh, argue if you need to. Enjoy every moment because every moment is not promised. So take some time to enjoy the view.
How do you think an entrepreneur can balance that viewpoint? Because a lot of the times entrepreneurs feel this pressure to constantly be productive, constantly be working, constantly be putting effort into the business. And that can be important from a competitive standpoint. How does an entrepreneur take that drive and that ambition that they have and balance it? Because I agree with you. I think that that's fundamentally, it's like, you know, how they say, you know, stop to smell the flowers, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. An entrepreneur could have a business that they want to say, oh, in 10 years, it's going to be like this. And that's fine. But that entrepreneur could pass away in the next week. And so how does an entrepreneur, in your opinion, balance their ambition, making every day count in a productivity sense, while also being able to take the moment to stop and have some time to, as you say, enjoy the view?
I would say create systems. Put systems in place that allow you to take that time to step back and say, I'm not doing this. For example, balance. If you know that you like to work into the midnight, put a timer on it. allot yourself 2 hours a day. This is the time where I'm most productive. I'm going to work these 2 hours, and once that alarm sounds, stop. Give yourself room to stop. And then I would say compartmentalize things. Put stuff in the proper place where they should go. If you know that you have a deadline that's coming up within the next 2 weeks, those go in the top compartments. If you know that you have something coming up within the next 3 months, those come in the middle compartments. And then if you know that you have a goal that you want to meet by the end of the year, put those on the bottom there. Always making sure that you check on each row and make sure, okay, is this good, is that good, okay? But you're not going to check on the bottom row as often as you check on the top row, because the top row is due in 2 months. 2 weeks, while the bottom row is due by the end of the year. So compartmentalize. Make sure that you're checking on all your babies, but then at the same time, balance it out. Put a timer on it, stop it, enjoy yourself, watch that movie you wanted to watch, eat that popcorn while you're watching it, and just, you got to balance things out. That's really what it takes.
So it's kind of like a hierarchy, maybe like a pyramid, where it's like at the top is like the most immediate things that you have to take care of. In the middle, something that's maybe like a couple months or so. And then like at the bottom of that pyramid is kind of like what's due at the end of the year.
And then don't try to do everything once. If you have a team, then yes, that's different. But if you don't have a team of people, don't try to be everything to everyone and everything to everybody, because it's not going to be successful. Just focus on those things that matter to the mission of what you're trying to accomplish. Stress is the number one killer, and I refuse to let anyone or anything stress me out. And don't sweat the small stuff, because at the end of the day, I said it before, the day is going to end. I think our rapper, Joe Willis, said it to somebody. At the end of the day is going to end. So you got to appreciate it, because it's going to come to an end anyways, and it's going to be a new one the next day. So, yeah.
Mr. Irvon Plummer, thank you so much for being our guest here on the Your Legacy podcast. I can tell, you're making a great impact today, and it's going to have a lot of impact on the, future generation that you're helping to mold and influence and inspire. So thank you so much for being our first guest on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. So if you want to see more from us, you can check us out, Your Legacy Podcast, at Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. And do you want to go ahead and plug in your social media as well?
So you can just follow me on Instagram at Irvon Plummer. You can follow what we're doing with the Entrepreneur Education Development Center at TEEDC INC, and you can figure everything else out. You go to our website to learn more, www.teedc.org, and we would love to have you guys, come on over and volunteer. We'd love something like that, yeah.
Absolutely. So yes, make sure that you check them out. They have some great things going on there, so make sure that you go and offer them and pay them some support. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.